As long as you have like a point of contact, okay, you're on. It's always better to have like everything, but nobody's gonna. Like, it only matters to you, right? Like, if they're so useless, like, oh, I don't think my phone number, and if their phone number doesn't even work, like, of course. But, like, yeah, if you don't have, like, all of their photos in contact, it's fine. It'll tell you the results. Or, oh, this person is 100% full on. This person's like this.
Okay.
Just give you a good reason to call them and be like, hey, I don't have your email.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's 1 o'clock.
You got it, like,
We're gonna start. I appreciate you all being on time. I kind of wanted to just go around the room, introduce everyone. If you guys don't know me, I'm Joseph Acosta. I'm 29 years old. I've been in real estate 5-6 years. At this office for about 2 to 3 years. I'm on the ALC, which basically means we're here to serve you guys and help you out with your business or whatever you need. So you can get my contact info at the end of the presentation and use me as a resource. I kind of want to just go around the room and introduce ourselves and why you got into real estate, how long you've been here. How about you, Jules?
Hi, I'm Jules. I got into real estate. I passed my exam last April. Took a little while to get rolling. Signed on with Keller Williams in December. And I got into real estate because for me, I felt like this is what's going to be the hugest asset for me to actually own a home of my own one day. And, you know, obviously make some money along the way.
Nice. I just recently bought my home, so I really get that. That was one of my biggest accomplishments. Are you full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Part-time? Cool. How about you, Caitlin?
I have been licensed for 4 years in Colorado. Just got licensed here. I became a realtor because I had a terrible realtor. Worst realtor ever. Like, I feel like I bought my house with my eyes closed and I didn't know what was going on. So I bought my first condo when I was 19. So I think I was just kind of like looked over. I was like, oh, I don't know enough. So I didn't need to know anything. You don't know what you don't know. So when I wanted to buy my first house in Colorado, I was like, I'm just gonna be my own realtor. And then I joined the Keller Williams office, and Keller Williams was big on like, we don't care if you're not going to be a realtor for the people, like you need to know how to do everything. And I learned how to be a realtor, and I was like, actually, I like this. So I've been licensed for a little while.
Nice. I love that. I feel like you can learn a lot from working with a realtor who's not doing so great.
Yeah.
Learn from their mistakes. And Abigail?
Yeah, my name's Abigail Eccles. I just started my 3rd course, so I'm not licensed yet. But I wanted to do real estate as like a second income. I work for a construction and development company full-time. And also because I just love like the hustle and bustle of the bigger cities. I'm from Ohio, so all of this is so fun and exciting for me.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
I feel like working construction development can easily supplement your real estate business really easily.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Lydia?
I'm Lydia Termakarova, Susie Badars, and I joined because I just wanted to change my career, do something new, and I love properties and real estate. I've always been excited about this, so this is my passion. Also, my husband has been with Keller for a while, so I'm going to form the team and help my busy lately. So that's what I'm doing.
Thanks. Welcome.
And I also had, I bought my iPhone 7 years ago, and I literally lost a friend over how horrible she was as a realtor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've been friends for a while, and I mean, I didn't confront her or anything like this, but after this, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so careless. I didn't know, so it was really, really weird experience.
That's always a tough situation.
Yeah.
Hi, Christine.
Hi. So I'm Christine. I met you here yesterday. This is my first month with Keller Williams. I literally joined like end of last month when it was festive season and everything was quite festive enough. So I'm brand new to San Diego. I moved here about 5 months ago to join my husband, and I did a little bit of rental real estate back in the Middle East, which is where I'm from. And I'm super excited to get started with Keller Williams. All this information is amazing, and everyone here has been so supportive, so
Congrats and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peggy?
I'm Peggy again. I've been a realtor for 17 years and joined Keller Williams in 2018. And I started cold calling with Joseph a long time ago, and we had such a great time, and it really set the ball rolling for me to be a cold caller. And we both still do that. And it's been kind of amazing, the kind of business that you could get just by sitting on the phone. And during the pandemic, it was even better and better to be just, home and call it and have goals, like 40 contacts a day instead of 20. So it's really been increasing my business, and I'm here because I'm bringing in a new agent and I'm starting back to basics just to renew my excitement in real estate. And that's what I'm doing.
Nice. I love that. I'm super excited Peggy's here. Also very nervous. She's like one of my mentors as I was getting new into real estate. We have put many, many hours role playing, waking up at 4:35 in the morning, hopping on the phone, running through scripts like we're talking to clients. She's a huge accountability partner and one of the biggest assets to my business and my journey on real estate. So
we used to run around the halls upstairs. It's like a figure 8. And we'd run around the halls with a ball and throw it to each other, saying scripts back and forth, role playing.
That's awesome. So cool.
And we would do that outside too. We would just find all kinds of creative ways to be engaged in just learning scripts, because that's mastery of scripts is what Keller Williams is all about.
agreed. Alyssa?
Hi, I'm Alyssa. Sheldon and I got into Keller Williams last month, and we just want to make our whole life about real estate. We want to invest, and we want to be agents, and all things real estate. So.
Nice. Same?
I'm Sheldon. What she said.
Ditto. Nice. Joel?
Hey, I'm Joel. I'll tell everybody. Nice to see everybody again. I'm currently a full-time employee. I manage a healthcare agency. Trying to balance things out. Full employment, real estate is a little bit difficult, but it is manageable. I just got my real estate license exactly 4 weeks ago. So I joined Keller Williams 2 weeks ago, so this is fairly new to me. I'm still learning the process, the CRM, just everything. So right now I'm just sinking everything in and kind of learning from everybody, hearing what everybody's saying. So yeah, it's very excited.
Nice.
Very nice.
Welcome, congrats. I work with a lot of people in healthcare, so I think that could be an easy transition for you to relate to them.
The CRM system is very similar to the healthcare industry.
Nice.
It's very weird, but I really, really like the way everything Keller Williams has set up, from the homepage, the tasks, the contacts. Tasks are probably the best thing that I could have ever been presented to. So just having that section there is like a quick reminder, like, hey, you call somebody next week or today. So probably the best thing.
Through command, correct?
Command, yeah. Command.
I'm awful at that, so maybe we'll get together after this.
Yeah.
And teach me something. Joanne?
Hi, I'm Joanna.
Joanna.
I've been with Keller Williams in September, August or September. I've always wanted to be a real estate agent, so it feels great to be here. When I first joined, Ignite had just started, and they were like, go to Ignite, and I was like, this is so much information, I don't know what's going on, so I'm excited to be here. It's an exciting time.
Nice. We're glad you came back for a second, because it is a lot of information, and if it's brand new, it's going to be a lot to take in. So glad you're here for us. Did anyone have any questions about today's presentation? Or
how long is the whole?
So essentially, it's from 1 to 4, but I usually get done around 3, and then I'll stay afterwards if there's any questions, but.
No, but I mean like the whole program.
Oh, the program?
20 weeks,
20 weeks?
20 weeks?
About 20 sessions.
till like March,
Okay,
like 3 times a week usually.
gotcha, thank you.
Was everyone here yesterday with Sarah?
I was not.
You were not?
Yes.
Mostly everyone was. How was that? Did anyone have any questions about it? Any ahas? Any takeaways?
It was good. It was good overall introduction to overall soft skills.
And just
Oh, okay, that's right. I thought it was, yeah, just a really good introduction to soft skills and what's important and kind of what holds back.
Sweet.
It's very helpful.
Sarah's great.
Yeah, and she brought up a lot of where we all have limiting beliefs, and just a way for us to overcome those and kind of step out of our comfort zone. And a lot of it really comes from lore, doesn't it? Language of scripts, which is what Stephen teaches, and I personally like attending. I wasn't there today though.
Yeah, the Stephen scripts are the best.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's almost like you wish you had a Stephen in you when you were in front of a client in order to have that, you know.
Oh yeah. It's always tough. I mean, those limiting beliefs are always going to be there. No matter what, like new things you're trying out. Like for me today, it's presenting. This is very difficult for me, but I'm trying. So please bear with me. So today we're going to go over the 6 core competencies, which basically just lays out like what our job is as a real estate agent. Recognizing our role as a fiduciary to our clients. And that basically means just always coming from a place of contribution and looking out for your client more than anyone else. So just always having your clients back.
Is that in the literature or is that something separate?
This? I believe it's in the literature. You have the.
Yeah, we have the whole program, and I'm just wondering what page this is.
This is the beginning, so it should be in the front.
Oh, okay.
Or this might just be my copy. Do you want a copy of this one?
No, it's okay.
Oh, wrong one. Okay, so here are the 6 core competencies of business. The first one, lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. Does anyone have any questions or any guesses about what this is? So this is basically just finding new clients.
The hardest part is
The hardest part. Finding people who are looking to buy, sell, invest, and getting them to believe in you so that you can represent them. Does anyone have any questions about this? Does anyone think, what's their one way that they're going to start implementing into their business to try to find new clients? Or do you want me to just tell you all the ways to do it?
Just calling people.
So that's one of Peggy's main things. All she does is sit on the phone and just call people all day. If it's calling around her listing, if it's calling expireds, people who tried to sell their home once, if it's people who are trying to sell their home by themselves for sale by owners. So you can shape your business like that if you'd like. She's been doing it for a long, long time. So if you're a new agent and you're calling the same people she's calling, it's going to be tough for you to land a client because a lot of the people who've been in the business for a long time are calling them, if that makes sense.
I like to join a lot of clubs and do a lot of volunteering and just kind of be very casual. So I'm kind of like on the opposite spectrum of like directly reaching out, but just kind of like making lots of connections with lots of people in my life.
I love that. I just recently got a dog. And
Perfect.
I was telling Eve, I was like, I go to the park 2-3 times a day now because that's a part of my lead gen. It's so easy for me to talk to people with my my dog because they kind of come up to me and ask, what breed is he? How much does he weigh? Is he a puppy? What kind of, just 21 questions. So that's a part of my lead gen.
My first non-referral deal was at the dog park, actually.
Good.
It's just like, I was just chatting with somebody, they lived in the area that I lived in, how do you like it? And of course, they're gonna talk about themselves, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're looking to buy a house in this area. And I was like, oh, actually, I'm a realtor. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so perfect, so.
That's awesome.
Mine was at a vet. My dog was in, her dog was in. We were talking, she asked me, do you wanna go get some coffee? We just started talking with our dogs next to us. And I didn't even ask her anything about real estate, and it just eventually just created the part of the conversation. She ended up saying, you know, I can't buy because my husband and I, we both just bought new cars. And I said, really, let's just check with the lender. Ended up selling her something immediately right after because that didn't matter, but she had a limiting belief.
So we should all have dogs.
That's the message, yes.
Here in San Diego, for sure.
Can't join Keller Williams without owning a dog.
There you go, you have to respond.
Any other questions about lead gen? Lead capture, converting, appointments? This is the number one thing that's going to fuel your business. So I don't mind taking more time on
I have a question.
Yeah.
Should we use any like platform
it. Platform?
for finding the leads? You know, we can buy the programs. They can give you a.
You can if you want, if you have the money to spend. I think a lot of agents who make a lot of money use a lot of platforms to buy leads and convert them. But there's cases where you're spending money for 6 months and the leads you get from the first month are still searching or still planning to sell. So you have to have like 6 months of reserves for those leads to eventually buy or sell. So it's something you have to take into account because it's not going to happen super quick. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Like today, Chauncey and I were doing lead gen upstairs. And I said, pull out your phone and start calling people. Because he doesn't have a list yet. I have my dialer, he doesn't have one. So he said, no, I don't want to do that. And then he just started calling them one at a time. And who knows what the limiting belief was. We didn't like dig in or anything. But he just started calling them. And it's like one after another was picking up. And he was having engaging conversations. And I was able to be there listening, mentoring him through it. And, lead gen can just start with your phone. And it's free.
100% agreed. I think the people who already know you, they care about you, they trust you, they want to see you succeed, those are the people who are going to be most likely to give you business. Even if you're from a different state or a different city, they might know people potentially moving to San Diego, and it's better to just stay on top of mind.
You know what somebody said to him? I'd rather you get the money than somebody who's like some random realtor who I don't know, because they know him.
Precisely.
They want him to have the commission.
Precisely.
They were like saying that out loud. It was so awesome.
Yep. Are you from San Diego?
No, from the East Coast.
Okay. But I'm sure there's a lot of people from the East Coast coming to San Diego. And even if you know people that are buying on the East Coast, you can refer them to an agent that you interviewed and get a referral fee for that.
I have questions for Becky. Doing this for quite a while. When you said that you cold call, is there a specific list that you get that information from to start cold calling, or do you just focus on past clients or past prospects?
I like to get like a zip code, like 8,000 numbers, and throw it in my dialer and let it just roll, nonstop.
So your
Yeah.
dialer,
So now you think
your
about it.
dialer is like a website specifically that like dials those calls for you, right?
I have a dialer.
Yeah. So it's like you.
I throw my numbers in there.
So there's like different websites that will like pre-load that for you basically.
I think you can buy that.
Yeah, you can buy that, and then there's just like
Yeah, I don't buy
still using
He just doesn't
Mojo?
really know where it's coming from.
And Mojo, actually, you can buy from Mojo, but I don't pay for it.
Yeah, so Mojo's a system where it's a dialer and you can call 3 people at once, and then whoever answers it, the other 2 go on pause, and then you start having that conversation with that one person. And then after it just keeps on rolling. And then you can also buy the data from it. So like you can get specific numbers and different zip codes or listings that have expired today, and so forth and so on.
Can you choose like your own farm area?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever
you
you
can.
want with it.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go to like any location and draw like a polygon,
Okay.
and then it'll give you all the numbers from that little area. And then you can even do like only single family homes or only condos. These are also things you can do with a title rep. Title rep can get you these numbers as well. It's going to take a little bit longer, probably take 24 hours. But essentially, Mojo dialer data and the title rep is getting the same information from the same place. Would you agree? For
I
the most
never
part?
used any, I never paid for it, except Vulcan, Vulcan, when I had that, that was coming in automatically, but it was, my Vulcan was that morning, everything, the title was a little bit late, like the next day.
Yeah.
Like on Wednesday, I get everything from title. I get expireds, NODs, FISBOs, canceled, all that, every week.
And who's your title rep?
Ryan White.
Ryan White. Ryan White's the lawyer's title. He's always in here on our team meetings. He actually texted me this morning.
Joseph and I got Ryan at the same time. Remember we met over at the other office?
Yep.
It was awesome.
Joe, was that good?
That's good.
Yeah.
Get a title.
Yeah, get a title rep, get a preferred lender, get escrow officers, start making connections with these people because they want to see you succeed and they're going to help your business grow. Like, I have another title rep who drops off things for my open houses. He'll drop off postcards to like a neighborhood. If I have a new listing or if there's an open house, they'll go drop them off at every house in the neighborhood so I can get more traffic at my open house. So there's a lot of different vendors out there that will help support you, which helps a lot. Okay, so buyer presentations and seller presentations. This is like, you got a prospect, you got a lead, you got them to agree with you to sit down and have a conversation why they should use you, and you sit down and ask them to sign the paperwork. Has anyone gone that far? Does anyone have any questions about it?
Yes. Where do we get that contract? Do we make it ourselves or?
It's on zip forms.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's usually with buyers, it's going to be the BRE, buyer representation agreement. This is a huge controversy in real estate because you don't necessarily have to get the buyer to sign a BRE to work with you or to place an offer.
So it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. Me and my clients who are buyers, I don't necessarily ask them to sign one of these unless I'm weary about them working with someone else. So it's kind of how you want to play it out with your business and your client, because every client's going to be a little bit different. Peggy, do you always get a BRE sign?
Always, since I was new.
And I've lost clients $15,000, $20,000 checks because they decided to write an offer with someone else. I
You never know. There's no loyalty.
Yeah.
I have my best friend sign one.
Yeah. If a client wants to buy a house with someone else, like, they're just going to make it happen.
I know how that feels, like, it happened to me one time in Brian's with staff, best friend.
Yeah, so someone that's been in the business for a long time, she says get a BRE signed every time.
Do you really have an expiration date when you'll be already?
Yeah, it can change, it can vary, it can be a week, it can be a year.
Oh,
I think
okay.
Peggy's even sent one to me with like blank to keep it infinite.
What's the most common time frame that you guys,
I think probably, I mean, a year,
a year?
would you say?
Mine are 6 months.
Mine is 6 months.
But the thing is that I learned from Keller Williams, like, just get one for a week. Just get one. Once they sign the contract and you're in contract with them for 1 week, it's nothing to get them to continue to work with you. I've done that a number of times. I said, let's just try it, maybe 1 or 2 weeks work together. And then once they got in contract, they get used to being in contract. So that's what I've used that a lot.
The first signature is the hardest. And then listing presentations, you're going to use a totally different one. It's going to be the RLA, Residential Listing Agreement, and that one's mandatory to sell a house with code. Does anyone have any questions about that? Found in the same zip forms as the other one.
So there's no requirement for a buyer's representation for app. If you could go through an entire contract, you want one.
You can go through an entire escrow without a buyer representation agreement.
But you're legally bound once you're in escrow with them.
Okay.
Once you write an offer with them,
It's,
Once you
it's
show them
different
a
for
property,
everyone, so.
you are legally bound to get the commission. Once you've shown a property, even.
Interesting. Interesting.
Any other questions? And as your career and your business grows, you're going to learn how to have these presentations with your clients and what to say, when to say it, what questions to ask. It's a very detailed presentation, and I find it to always be silent and just kind of listen to them talk and then ask open-ended questions is usually how I get the most information from the clients. Because every scenario is going to be different with each client, so you have to find out what's important to them and how to maneuver that to provide them value to want to work with you. I forget what teachers are teaching the buyer presentation and the listing presentation, but it'll probably be in like 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. Show buyers and market sellers. Okay, so show buyers, that's just showing properties to homes. I mean, showing buyers properties. I have a client right now that I've probably been working with for 2.5 years. He's in the million to like 1.2 range. He doesn't live here, and he's an engineer, so he's looking for something very specific. I have no buyer representation agreement with him. Honestly, at this point, like, I could kick him to the rocks and I'd be totally okay with it. It's kind of a waste of time. But you're always going to have one of those buyers. It's like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I don't know. Showing properties. Does anyone have any questions about that? Has anyone not done that? Yeah. Okay. Have you guys been set up on the Century Lockbox app?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I would just go show property. I do it all the time. I go see property all the time. Like, if I just want to see it myself, I'll go look at it.
So we can use our Century Log and go see the property? How does that work?
Just reach out to the listing agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and say, hey, like, I think this property might fit for one of my clients. You mind if I just go look at it? Here's my DRE. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say yeah. I take a video, I post it on my social media. Go ahead.
Most of the properties that are vacant, in the MLS, it usually, well, at least it used to, it usually says just go, if it's a vacant property. So what I did was I set up lists every day, and I went to every vacant property, and I would just go. And that's how I stayed in touch with the market, the inventory. And that's when we had so much great inventory.
Is there like a showing scheduling system?
Yes, it's called showing time.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, not everyone uses it.
Oh, good.
Most do.
So is it like 50-50 kind of thing, or like most of the time no call? Or?
Yeah, I mean, showing time's not.
Where I'm from, we all like showing times are 100%. Everything's their showing time.
Oh, really?
Like I don't think I've ever not used showing time ever.
Yeah, today an agent called me and he was like, "Yo, I told you not to use showing time on the showing instructions. Like, please cancel it. Like, they keep calling me." I was like, "Oh, I read it wrong. Sorry." So, 9 times out of 10 on my showings, I say to reach out to me directly so I can coordinate it because I want to talk to everyone and kind of let them know what they're getting into, what their finances, their buyer situation. So I make sure to have that conversation. And a lot of my clients like to know who's going in the property. And showing time keeps track too, but just another middleman, right? But yeah, I highly recommend always looking at property as much as you can, even if you don't have clients. I think I put a property on my social media on Saturday. From that video, I must have gotten 3 people pre-approved since then. So like if you see something that like catches your eye or has good value at a good price, like go see it. Go tell random people. Or if you have a potential client that lives next to this home that's for sale, like send it to them. Say, "Hey, I thought of this, like I saw it on the market, like it's right by you. What do you think of it?" Just create conversation. Marketing sellers. This one's very fun because when you sit down with someone wanting to sell their home, you have to convince them that you're just not putting their home on the MLS and waiting for buyers to come. You can do this by cold calling the neighborhood. Say, "Mr. Seller, I'm going to cold call the surrounding neighborhood and let all of your neighbors know about your property coming to the market. So if they know of anyone that wants to move into the neighborhood, we're going to let them know it before it even hits the internet." So that's one way of marketing the property and showing value to the homeowner. What else, Peggy? What else do you do?
To market sellers.
You have open houses for the brokerage?
Yeah, having an open house and then going around to all the neighborhood, knocking on all the doors, talking to all the neighbors, and telling them to come in and making appointments with those people.
Yeah, so not only are you knocking on the neighborhood to market your new listing, but you're also looking for other homeowners who might be interested in selling in a week, in a month. Oh, you're selling a property 2 blocks away? You might be able to help me sell my property in a couple months when I know I have plans to leave. So not only are you helping your seller market their property, but you're also looking for new business. I provide that for all new agents. If I have a new listing, you can market that property like it's your own, like we're on a team. That's what we do here at Keller Williams, and that's why we all make each other successful. Do you have a question, Joe? What else do you do to market sellers? So let's say we have a new listing and it's probably 2 months away from coming to the market. What's cool about our office is we can let all the other agents know about this coming soon property. Like I have one in La Mesa, a block away from me. I probably have 3 interested buyers from letting other agents in our office know about this property. So we could potentially sell this property off market to one of the other agents in the office because our office has 350 agents who all have their license. One of those agents has to have a buyer, Mr. Seller. Like, let me market it to my office and we can bring in an offer before we even hit the market. So So
And
that's,
a lot of agents in this office, they like to take your listing and then just start marketing on social media. So you get tons and tons and tons of traction that way.
yep, so not only are you helping the agents in the office get more business, but you're also helping market to your seller.
So if you had, for example, if I had like a potential buyer, I could just put it out on our group on Facebook to say, hey, do any of you guys have any properties at, say, Point Loma, with whatever specs they're looking for and whatever budget, I can just throw it out there, say a potential, military family looking to move.
100%.
Okay.
And like,
Okay.
me and Peggy, we call every day, so we might be like, no, I'm tired of calling this list, I'm gonna call Christine's buyer in Point Loma for $1 million, and maybe she lands someone.
Right.
I mean, that's how I got my listing in La Mesa. Lisa Volkin posted she has a $900,000 cash buyer looking in downtown Mesa. I knew of this listing, so I called them. They signed an agreement with me, and we might sell it off market.
That's awesome.
It's, what's the quote? We always say it's simple, not easy.
That's great to know.
So yeah, any buyers, put them on the Facebook group chat. You never know if someone has something coming soon. Any questions about marketing sellers, showing buyers? No? Write and negotiate contracts. This one's not always everyone's favorites. I would say it's not everyone's favorite because they don't know what the contract says. It's always 15, 20 pages, little font. The best thing you can do is just read it over and over and over again and practice filling it out. Does everyone have a coach in here?
Yes.
Yeah. Go to your coach and ask them questions. I know I'm 99% sure that any coach in here, you tell them the paragraph, the section, what page, they're going to know what you're talking about. And that's because they read it over and over and over again. So I would say practice it before your clients rather than on your clients.
And it's so important to read it through with the person who's gonna sign it. Just literally go paragraph by paragraph, even though it's upside down, and just go, this is what this is about. Every single time, with every single buyer or seller. It's so important. Because a lot of agents, I guarantee you, they do not do that. They just go sign, page, 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 sign. A lot of agents do that.
Guilty. Any questions?
I just want a second look right
Every
I
time.
do it. I shouldn't, but I do it. I asked them if they have any questions and want to.
There's a huge liability, Joseph.
That's why I
You need to
hated my
stop.
first realtor. I was just like, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Like, let me know if I have any questions.
Yeah.
Most people, most people's approach, your clients are like, it doesn't matter what it says, I'm signing because I trust you.
Right.
Which is like the most backwards thinking in the world. And I go, great, you trust me? Good. I'm going to make sure that we solidify our relationship right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go through this with you.
Because when they come back and sue you, it's not a fun process. And it's gonna cost you a lot of money. It's gonna cost you a lot of money. I've been sued and I had to come out of pocket like 11 grand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what it was for. I mean, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because
It's a learning experience. So one time I was representing the seller and the buyer on one transaction, and the transaction closed. It was smooth. 3 months down the line, the buyer wanted to go into the space behind his backyard, which he owned partly with SDG&E, which is our gas and electric company. So it was his easement. and he's cleaning it up, which he didn't have to. He could have called the city to clean it up, and they would have. However, he's cleaning back there, and there's a skeet trap, which you use in hunting. You like pull, and then it throws a disc, and you shoot it. That mechanism was caught, and when he was cleaning, it went off and cut his nose to his cheek, to his chin. And he sued me and the owner, the previous owner, saying that we knew that it was there, we knew that it was caught, and we wanted to harm him. So it was for negligence. So yeah, I mean, really no one's fault. It's just kind of what happens.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course. So always do your avid very thoroughly. Make sure you go into the easements and just write
Do you
everything.
think that was because he represented both parties?
No, I think it would have happened either way. No.
We're not allowed to do that in Colorado, represent both parties, so that's really good.
Yeah, most states you can't. Most people can't in our office. Kind of just depends on who you are, and you have to have that conversation with a broker bond beforehand. Coordinate the sale to closing. This is always a fun conversation. I always like to have it with my clients and kind of just break down the different timelines of the closing period. So within the first 3 days, EMD gets delivered. You have 3 contingencies: inspection contingency, appraisal contingency, and the loan contingency. And then you have a final walkthrough a couple days before closing. And this is why you also need to hire a TC. We have in-house TCs that kind of manage the whole closing and help you manage the closing expectations for your clients. Does anyone have any questions about those timelines? So you have, is that similar to Colorado?
We write our own dates in, so I think that that's different, right? Because that these dates are based on like 3 days within, like it's a contract or.
We have our standard dates, so like the 3 days that's standard for EMD to go into escrow can be changed. It can be changed, but standard is 3 days. So it has the standard 3 days, and then it has like a blank, or you can do 24 hours or 48 hours. And that's pretty similar for any other contingency periods as well.
Okay, so they all kind of have a reference, like a standard reference.
Yeah. So like, inspection, loan, appraisal is all at 17 days. But the past 2 years, those have been fluctuating so much to make your offer competitive.
For sure.
Yes.
If we want to change the date, do we have to fill out some kind of form, or?
Yeah, so if you're writing an offer on the RPA, the residential purchase agreement, that's the agreement that you would use to change those dates.
On that agreement, yes.
Yeah.
If, after a couple of days, like, let's say something happened and we decide to change the dates.
You can easily change them. You're probably going to have to use like another counter offer or an addendum to that contract. Usually pretty easy, depending on if the seller has countered you or accepted the offer, if that makes sense. Do you have anything to piggyback on that?
The extension of time addendum?
No,
Are you
because
talking about
the way
in escrow?
well, the way she asked it, it wasn't like
Not specifically escrow, any
contract.
any.
Yeah, you just change
It's
it
like a
with.
new contract, but it's a different contract, and it says like, I want to change this specific, and then both parties sign it.
Correct. Yeah. Does that help?
And coordinating the sale to close, I think, is more than just a closing date. It's like coordinating everything in the sale process. You know, the loan, moving of the loan, the repair request, all those things coordinate the sale to close. That's a competency of an agent.
Yeah, that's a good point, because when you get your offer accepted or you get your listing into escrow, there's going to be a dozen things that need to be done. You're going to need to get your client a home inspection on the house. You need to advise them if that home inspection should lead to a roof inspection or a foundation inspection. Really, it's best to have the list of all the inspections you can do on a home and kind of provide it to your client and say, this is everything we can do. What do you feel comfortable moving forward with doing on this home after seeing the general home inspection? And then once you figure out what the client is worried about and you do everything, then you can go in and say, we're going to ask the sellers for a credit, we're going to ask them to fix this, we're going to ask them to fix that, we're going to ask them to lower the purchase price. Does that make sense? And then all that's kind of, while all that is going on, you need to also manage the loan side. So be on top of your loan officer and lender, making sure that all their conditions are approved, that they're fully capable of buying this house and your debt to income ratio is correct.
And as a listing agent, it's so vital to have conversations with the lender all the way through the process. Just keep asking questions. And even in the beginning, the earnest money deposit in, all of that is part of the listing agent's, coordinating the sale.
100%.
All of it, every aspect of it.
Yeah, so on the listing side, it's very complicated. And I think that's one of the reasons why we tend to focus on the buy side. Because you're not at this home when the buyers are walking in and wanting to do their inspections. So I know Peggy, when she puts on a home, she kind of always advises to get her clients to do a home inspection report before the buyers even do it, so that they have good knowledge about what the home is wrong with it, or if they need to fix things before they go to market, to kind of prevent any red flags coming up and out of the room, right?
Pre-inspection.
Pre-inspection?
Yep, and they pay for it.
And Peggy, is this when the listing agreement gets signed, the RL?
Right after.
Right after.
Pre-inspection and termite inspection.
Always. So like my listing in La Mesa, I was able to get a home inspection from a few years ago that my client never even knew of. And we were able to find that there was a foot of sitting water in the foundation. So right now, before we're going to market, we're fixing that so that buyers don't come in and offer a big credit or a big repair. So it's spotless. So it's good to have your
And your sellers pay for this?
it's their home.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I would love to pay for it. However, if you decided you don't want to sell your home tomorrow, I don't want to be short that money. So that's kind of just the conversation I use or the script I use if that ever comes up. Sometimes I write that into the contract. I don't mind paying for it as long as we don't sell, or you can compensate me from your net profit once it's done selling. You process that, Joel? Anything else that comes up in managing the listing?
You can provide so much.
Yeah, we could be here all day. So like, Another thing that kind of like comes to me is, so when you're listing a property and let's say there's 10 offers on the home, you have to coordinate with the buyer's agents and make them love you. That's how I would say it. Make them want to do business with you and say, yeah, you need to be at this price. You know, I really want to work with you. I think you've been super professional, you've been super communicative. What do we have to do to make your buyers come up to this price? Because that's your responsibility to your seller, to get every agent to like you, to make sure that price keeps going up, if that makes sense. And then once you do accept an offer, follow up with all the buyer's agents. Let them know this is why we chose this other property, but if anything happens, we would love to consider you as a backup offer.
Have you noticed that as a listing agent in the multiple offer situations, that very few agents call you? So that's really a good takeaway to all the agents here today, is that if you do not make a call to every listing agent that you put an offer in, then you are really not doing the service to your client, because they can't make that call. And you're gonna be like every other agent out there that is like, but you're gonna stand out if you make a call.
I think that's a good
You're
point.
absolutely right.
I think that's a good point, because there's been so many deals that have almost failed or canceled, but you can save them just by having a phone conversation. So many people are reluctant to have that call, but you need to do it. Just pick up the phone and have a straight up conversation.
I've done that, and then we ended up going to the original offer, but the next buyer or two I had, we ended up writing on that agent's property, and she literally called me and said that she chose our offer over the other offer because I was a more professional agent, and we already had a good rapport. So
And professional equals communication.
absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. Anyone else? Any questions? Any questions about managing the closing to the sale? No? Managing money.
You know what, I do wanna say something about closing. There is a myth that, and it's a limiting belief, that buyers and sellers have when they're in escrow. The myth is that the date we have set for closing is in stone.
Okay.
And it's frozen and it's not gonna change no matter what. And it's really hard to maneuver through that if you haven't prepared your client, either a buyer or a seller, ahead of time and say, we don't know what's actually gonna happen. I'm going to keep you informed as we go along, but things change all the time.
Yep.
That conversation it can really save your relationship.
Yeah, setting expectations for your clients on either side, buy or list side. I think Peggy was one of the first ones to tell me, if you're representing a buyer and you close on the 1st of February, set expectations that they might not be able to move in 2 weeks after the closing date. Just because you never know what happens. I mean, you might have to get fumigation for a week after closing because the seller's bought it and the termite company can never come out. And that's a whole other story if you want to close before it happens or extend closing, but things like that always come up.
Is there a particular form to sign for that, or do you just verbally mention it to your client that this could be a possible scenario?
I think you mention it first to your clients verbally, and if something like that does happen, you can add for like an extension of the closing date or just an addendum to the contract where you let escrow, you let the lender know, buyer, seller know that we're pushing the closing date back. One of the things that I'm doing for my clients who are closing this week, he's one of my good investors, so we've closed many deals together. But he has 6 kids and 2 goats. So I'm going to be getting them a closing gift and throwing them a little party at their new home with their family. So that's also something that's really tough to manage during closing while you're doing everything else. But like, how am I going to stand out to other agents and make sure he remembers me this way? A lot of agents will just hand over keys and balloon, take a picture with their sold sign. So you have to really, yeah.
So my personal experience with my friend, she was new, kind of did a poor job to the houses, but that was fine because she was very new and I was okay with it. But I got my key, I got inside my house and she called me, she's like, get out. Something did not happen with an escrow closed and something like this, so I just really had to run out and close the door. But that was all fine until she never called me after this for like 2 weeks. You know, I mean, they end up closing escrow, they end up doing this, but there was nothing.
No communication.
There was no communication, no closing gift, no like, I'm sorry, I messed up, I'm sorry I scared you, because that was the first time I ever bought anything, so I literally had a house, and the key to my house inside, and she's like, you gotta get out right now, it's not your home, and there's like, it was a family feud house that I bought, and so, she's like, physically, like, leave. Yeah, and so that
was it her first transaction?
Yeah. I don't think it was first. It was the first few or something like this. But it's just the follow through after that what kind of got me. Because I was so scared and I just got this and I was like, oh my gosh, like where is she? Where is my, I don't know, maybe a flower, maybe I don't know, take her out for coffee or just call me and say, sorry, not much. Yeah, well, something, like a hug or something. I was like, freaked out.
Let's go celebrate. We just went through this whole process together.
Yeah, and you made a ton of money off me.
Yeah, so that
really?
put a damper with it, because I'm like, oh my gosh. So from there, I just said, that was a big one.
Yeah.
Because it's such an emotional process to begin with. I mean, it's the biggest purchase that you have.
Yep. Agreed. Did someone have a question?
I have a question. You mentioned that you have an investor who you connect with. I have conversations with other agents, and I was just wondering, had you end up connecting with an investor, the agent that I was talking to, who's telling me that the investor he works with, he'll purchase at least one big home or a lot or apartment complex at least once or twice a year. So, he has that relationship with them, and obviously he's closing deals, at least a minimum of 2 big deals a year, just because he has that business relationship.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. This is kind of my niche, work with investors and off-market flips, distressed properties, builders, developers. And I think the best way to find them is to find a property that would be interested, that they would be interested in. So there's a whole array of different kind of investors. If they're looking for a long-term hold, if they're looking for a short-term rental like Airbnb, if they're looking to fix and flip, or if they're looking to put condos or building development on a site. So my answer to you is to find one of those properties, because that is the most difficult thing, is to find one of those properties and you put it on the market and the investors will come.
Oh.
So I've found plenty of those types of properties, and over the years I've just saved all of those investors' contact info and asked them, okay, well, what's your ideal property you're looking for? And save that info to that investor. And while I'm cold calling or having conversation with Peggy, because she cold calls as well, this is what I'm looking for. And then once we find that property, just push it back to the investor and keep building that relationship. Does that make sense? But yeah,
Joseph would have pictures of himself on Facebook with him in this white what was that, you just looked like an
As a jumpsuit?
astronaut. Yeah, he'd be going underneath, because he was shown in the very beginning when he was working in, with investment property investors in distress, he would be showing everybody, showing the world that he dug deep inside the home. So that he literally would be in there underneath the house himself. He would be doing all these things, and he would videotape himself and put it up on social media. And he has a huge following, so that's where he got a lot of his business from.
That specific property's foundation has like $100,000 repair on it. And we ended up going under there, figuring it out what was wrong with it, letting the investor know, and then they ended up buying it, fixing it, putting it back on the market, and then they had me sell it for them as well. And then I ended up finding like 3 more investors who buy like 2 or 3 properties every year, fixing them and flipping them. So from that one interaction of just going into the foundation, I got a lot of business from it. But now I don't even use a suit anymore. I just go into there, no suit. Which I just did for the listing on the Mesa with the foot water in the crawl space. It's fun. It's great with a bunch of poop. Okay, managing money. What's a good rule of thumb, Peggy? 20-30% after every saving? 35%?
For what?
Managing your money.
Nancy uses my P&L as a sample of the best
I'm sure.
to look at your budget.
I'm sure. So what do you do, 30%?
I don't know, whatever I do, it's the best. I don't even think about it.
So rule of thumb.
Savvy with the money thing.
Rule of thumb, if you are closing on a transaction, save 30% of it to pay taxes. Until you get to about 70, 80 grand a year in gross commission income, then you want to start thinking about opening up a corporation for yourself. And once you do that, you'll be able to save 20 grand from the IRS. Just the way you structure your taxes, having that corporation. I did that the first year. I closed the first year that I was planning to close 15 homes. I opened up my corporation and I was able to save 25 grand rather than giving it to the IRS. So that's one of the best, some of the best advice I could give managing money.
Corporation or LLC?
I have an S corp. Yeah. So depending on how you're going to structure your business and what you want to do, I've had that conversation with my accountant to see what's best for you. But a lot of people I know who are just agent sales is S corp. Melissa, do you have a question?
No, sure.
Anything else about managing money? No. I do want to touch on, I forget who asked it, about buying leads. I really wouldn't recommend buying leads at the beginning of your career, just unless you have the money to spend. Because if you're not a master at having conversations, converting them, setting appointments, getting contracts signed, it's going to be a lot of wasted money. And I mean, you might learn really quickly from that, but I mean, if you're not rich, you're going to blow through it. So just a little heads up. I know Zillow leads, which is super popular, they're not really worth it unless you're number 1 or number 2 in the zip code, and that's going to be like $5,000 a month. That's what I have on managing money. Mindset. Who said it earlier about limiting beliefs? Christine, right? I think that's that's huge. And one of the things that I've learned is I kind of have to remind myself every day of my mindset and where I need to be, because this business is not easy. Calling 100, 300 people a day to get 300 no's and 5 fuck yous, never call me again. It happens. It happens. I've been knocking at people's homes and they like, what are you doing on my property? And close the door and scream at me like, that's tough. That's tough to hear. That's going to crush your soul. So really have that mindset of, why are you doing this business? Is it to make a lot of money, or is it to inspire and help people who need help the most? Because that's what I tell myself every day. Because I know I've inspired and changed a lot of people's lives, helping them buy, sell, invest in property, and that's what I keep reminding myself of every day, because that's what keeps me motivated. Me and Peggy, we would write affirmations every day and repeat them back to each other at 4:35 in the morning, just because times were tough.
What year was that?
2018? 2019?
Is that the first goal? Was that the first goal or the second one when we were on the same team?
I think it was the first one.
The first one?
2018? Do you guys have any questions about the 6 core competencies, everything we just went over? And it doesn't even have to be about anything with this. You guys can ask me any questions you want about my business. I'm an open book.
What are like your top 3 affirmations that you would give for like us newer agents?
That's tough. I shape my affirmations to what I need to hear every day. Agreed. Yeah, very personal. One of the ones I write down every day is that I'm worthy and deserving of everything that I desire. Because I have a hard time believing that I'm worthy of any of my achievements. So that's what I remind myself every day. I don't know if that helps, but I wanted to be. Yeah, I wanted to share it. Ahas, any takeaways from what we've heard so far?
I have just another question for you. When you say that with your niche being your niche, how did that come about? Like, did you know a lot of contractors and people in like building? Like, how did you get into that? Did you just kind of choose it?
That's a great question. So I do kind of know a lot of contractors. I'm born and raised here in San Diego, and I know a lot of business owners, so I always have the mindset of how can I bring them value, hoping that they would bring value to me one day. And it all kind of started with Peggy. Like, Peggy had this cold call, and it was a great listing, and she flipped it to one of these bigger investors in town, and she was telling me, she's like, Joseph, like, I'm representing buyer, seller, I'm getting 6% commission on like 800 grand, and after they're renovating it, they're gonna help me sell it. They're gonna have me sell it. And I was like, that's 3 commissions from one freaking deal. Like, why not try to do that?
That was a random phone call. Like literally a random cold call. I asked if you were this person that I had in front of me, the name, and she said, no, I'm not. And I said, well, why I have you on the phone?
And that was
Do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell it? She said, I do.
And that was on Clobber, right?
No, that one was Imperial Beach. That one that I did the 3 deals. The Clobber, that was different. That's when you started doing your investing.
So anyways, that's where I got the idea from, and I swear to you, I started manifesting it, I started writing it out. I said, I want to help these people, because if they're living in a distressed property, like, I'm sure they're in that situation. They didn't choose to be. Their life kind of just went down that path, and I wanted to help them get into a better place. So that's what I kept telling myself, and now I've done a dozen of those deals, and it's so satisfying to be able to help those people. And it's a lot of money as well, which is great. But yeah, so I kind of wanted to go that route, and it kind of just like landed in my lap. So that's kind of how it came about. Functionary versus fiduciary. Functionary is like what we've been talking about with these experiences with these bad agents that we've had in the room. Kind of just going through the process, not educating your clients, not providing all the facts to them so that they can make the best decision on hand. And that is the definition of fiduciary for your client, is just being on their team, laying out all the education, all the facts to help them make the best decision for them and their family. Be the fiduciary. Am I going the wrong way? Okay, so Gary Keller, has anyone read the MREA? Halfway. Yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend it. Peggy's probably read it a dozen times. She loves it. That's why she cold calls all the time. But this quote, nothing else about your business will have as big as an impact on the number of leads you have. If you want to be wealthy, rich, it's all about the database and how many leads you bring in. One of my favorite quotes is kind of a stem from this. It's, what is it? Nothing else matters until the number one priority is finished. And that goes back to the leads that you're bringing in. I love this quote because Peggy held me accountable for so long. If you're looking for someone to help you in your business accountable, she will be there on time every day. I fucked up and let her down a lot.
So many times.
A lot of times. A lot of times. So if you're looking to be accountable and
biggest disappointment right there.
So I'm glad she's sitting here.
I'm just kidding.
So I have a question. How do we go about choosing an accountability? Can it be somebody from within your own group or team, or say from class, or how does that work?
It's whatever is best for you.
I was gonna say, I could add, when I started, the first Ignite I met, I would say like 3 people on my coach's team through Ignite, and then we formed an accountability group just to stay accountable during Ignite, and we would just meet like once a week or something like that. So I feel like it's just people that you're drawn to, maybe have similar goals. That's helpful.
Right.
And you'll probably have to run through a few,
Yeah.
which is okay. Me and Peggy learned that.
The first one I had, like we were upstairs, it was before this was our office. This did not exist. So we were upstairs in the training room, and after one of the classes, I think it was one of Stephen's classes, I just turned to the person next to me and we looked at each other and we said, let's just be accountability partners. We didn't know each other's names. We didn't know anything about each other. And we would talk to each other every day, and I said, I'm gonna go out to this expired listing, and she was like so supportive, and as I'm driving out to knock on someone's door, who the hell they are, I don't even know, and she was just giving me so much affirmation. We were just talking, and it doesn't matter who it is. You just pick someone random, and you never know what gems are gonna come from it. Don't overthink it.
Yep. this is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so the daily success system is pretty straightforward. I feel like this isn't too much to ask for. So the first one is just having 10 conversations. I kind of want to stress this though. If you feel like that is too much for you, don't set that goal to have 10 conversations. Like, if that's just too difficult for you to do, set it at 5, set it at 3, set it at 1. Set yourself up for success. I know it's really daunting to have real estate conversations and to ask for business. Me personally, I'm always working. So if I'm at the park, if I'm putting gas, and I see someone just standing there, I'm gonna have the conversation about real estate. I don't know how, I'm gonna bring it up. Oh, how's your day going? And they tell me, and I'm like, oh, well, I've had a wonderful day. I just got done showing a listing of mine down the street and blah, 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 blah. That's just how I always try to bring it up. So once you get to that level, just set yourself up for success on how many conversations you're having a day about real estate. And then the next one is a stem from having those conversations to getting their contact info. Oh, hey, can I get your number? I'll send you the listing right now. You just look down at your phone and don't even look up at them. I still do it to this day, it works. I kid you not. I got this person's number at the park because I was telling them about my listing. And they said, oh, okay, I'll look for it online. I was like, oh, well, it's not online, it's off market, but I'll send it to you. What's your number? And they give it to me. They give it to me. I don't know why, I wouldn't. Handwritten notes. No one gets handwritten notes anymore. I send out handwritten notes. Last month I did like 1,000 a month to non-owner occupieds in the zip code 91941 and 91942 who have owned their properties for over 10 years and have 70% equity. That's what I'm focused on. I want to work that zip code. But I would get calls like from old grandmothers like, oh, I got a handwritten note from you. I appreciate it so much. I don't have to sell my home, but if I know of anyone, I will. I'll send them to you. And I print the letter and then I handwrite the envelope. So you can tweak it however way you want, or you can do handwritten notes to your sphere, people you know, ask for business, or just tell them, hey, I was thinking of you, hope you're doing well. Let's chat soon. Or it was nice getting coffee with you the other day. Just wanted to tell you thank you, I appreciate you. Those go a long way. Think you have anything about handwritten notes?
Well, after I sold the property, I printed up a letter from the seller that he recommended me, and then I just had the letter printed 1,000 times or something, and just hand address. I would sit upstairs and just hand address 20 a day and send them out, mail them out to that area.
Yeah. Or even if you're having one of your 10 conversations with someone you call, just handwrite them a note. They'll get it in a week. Say thanks for the conversation. I really appreciate it. It's always trying to stay top of mind to the people that know you, so that they remember to send you business. Yeah, Joel.
You guys have any suggestions? You do anything? Just yesterday, I got a phone call from a possible prospect. They're looking into possibly selling their home. They're not sure yet if they want to move forward with it. The situation is a little bit difficult. I've never really had this conversation. It's most likely a divorce So I don't really know how to, I'm gonna be meeting with them, possibly next week. And,
The worst case scenario or the conversation?
just the conversation itself, you know, it might be just a very uncomfortable conversation that, both of them have to be in.
Why does it feel uncomfortable for you?
Keep the business.
Yeah, I mean, just, maybe one of them doesn't want to sell, maybe the other one. That's the feedback that I received. One wants to sell, the other one doesn't.
I think you have to go into deep questions with that to find out if they're gonna, because you don't wanna be in the middle of a lot of work and they pull out because one of them, you didn't know the bottom line of what they were thinking. So that sounds like deeper conversations with, especially the one that's resistant.
Yeah, so embracing your job as a realtor here for this presentation is also embracing your job as a therapist. 90% of the time. I'm meeting with one of my clients in a couple days who's going through a divorce, so it's one of those tough conversations that you have to have. And I think, like Peggy said, just digging a little deeper, asking open-ended questions, kind of just hearing out both sides and staying open to try to provide a solution for both.
And another thing is like starting at when you guys were together and moved in here, so you start with joy. You know, you start with like when it was all pleasant, we were getting along, everything was great. Why did you like this house so much? And then what made it change? And then where do you see yourself, you know, maybe 6 months from now, if you haven't sold this house, how would you feel about that? You know, just questions like that. Just bringing them into different aspects, you know, hitting their emotions and...
Sounds like you might get them back together.
Yeah. Get it back together. But getting as deep as you can.
Yeah, for the people who are going to Stephen's scripts class, I don't know if he does this anymore, but he used to go into like 4 quadrants of like feelings, expectations, future pacing, and then something else out. I forget, but if you're going to his class regularly, just bring it up to him. I'm sure he'll lay it all out. Because that's pretty
It's positive past, negative past, positive future, negative future. You know, like all these different, they go around in a circle.
Yeah. And Joel, if you want to talk about it later, we can before your appointment. So you can go into it fully prepared. Social media engagement, I think we kind of touched on that earlier, where go tour some properties, as many as you can, and just post them on your social media. I have properties saved on my phone that I haven't posted just because when I don't feel like going out and looking at property, I have the property saved on my phone that everyone hasn't seen, so I just post it. And you can add like the location, you can add the price in there, or you can add, do you like the kitchen, or do a poll to it.
Are you asking for that listing agent's permission to advertise their property? Is it for your listings? Like, what does it look like?
No, if it's another listing, if it's another agent's listing, I don't ask. But you probably should. But I put it up on my story, so it's there for 24 hours. And they know that I'm showing it. I have a really hard time if an agent is having trouble letting me market his property on my story to bring him a buyer. I don't know many people who are gonna make a claim about that. Some might. If I'm posting a property on like one of my posts on Facebook or Instagram, then I'll let them, I'll list it by courtesy of blah, blah, blah. But if I'm putting it on my story.
Do you think it's possible to make it in real estate without social media?
Yeah, there's plenty of people who do it.
I just believe it online, so that's why.
No,
Social media.
yeah, I think I know plenty of people who do it. I know for a fact when you meet a new client, buyer, seller, investor, 9 times out of 10 they're going to Google search you. So I know that's one of the reasons why I focus on my reviews after I close a transaction. I send them my Google business page and have them leave a review on my Google business page because I know they're going to Google me. And then I've been able to set up my Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, my website. So when someone does Google search me, all of those things pop up in order, just to add credibility. So hopefully we're not going up against the same client.
Do you think it's important to link to your existing social media or to create something completely separate from that and not for work?
It's all up to you. I know a lot of people who have business pages. Me personally, I don't. Because I like to focus on my sphere anyways. So my profiles aren't even open to the public or private. So it's kind of all what you want to do.
What's the 10x1?
I think that's just like engagement. So like engaging with 10 people who like view your story or talk to 10 people and then send them like, I should know this, but I don't. I'm sorry. 5 people probably have 5 contacts. 1 that should lead to a contract. It's one of those things like we can provide a certain amount of things that you should be doing, but you know what you should be doing, how many people you should be talking to. I know a lot of my business comes from social media, so I like look at everyone who looks at my story, and I make sure to have a conversation with them. If they're engaging to look at my story, I make sure to have a conversation with them and reach out. And that's a good point. Like I should know the 10-5-1 because I'm not measuring how many people I'm talking to, and I don't know how many of those conversations are leading to conversions, contracts, closings. There's no way to measure it. So do as I say, then do as I do. Fourth, this is a great method to remember when you're talking to strangers, family, or any prospects. Bring up these things, just regular conversation. How's your family doing? Oh, I just saw your dad last week. Haven't seen him in a while. Just, if you have a hard time trying to cultivate the conversation.
People love to talk about themselves.
People love it. People love it. It's a very good point. Does anyone want to role play this?
Sure.
No?
Yeah.
I can be the prospect, and then you can be the agent.
Okay. Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. How's your dog?
My dog's amazing.
Yeah. When's
Yeah.
the last time you went to the dog park?
We went this morning. He was playing with his dog, and he got so crazy. They just kept wrestling, and he was rolling in the muddy grass, and he got filthy. And I didn't have enough time to bathe him because I had to go teach this class.
Yeah, I'm on my way to an open house right now, so I have to take my dog after.
Oh, that's cool. Open house? Are you like an agent or something?
I am. The open house is in Sierra Mesa.
Oh, that's cool. I love that area.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, what's the house like?
It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Would you like to go see it?
Maybe not today, but if you want to send me the info, you can have my number.
Awesome. What is it?
I mean, it's super easy, but you can get a gist of it. Anyone else have any questions about this? Peggy, do you still use this? kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any feedback, like what should you do?
With what?
Like the conversation, how else would you have led it?
I would ask for the number first, or I probably would have asked if they wanted to see the property. Like, oh look, here it is. Like, what do you think? And then sometimes I don't like to be so direct. Sometimes I'll just like, oh yeah, you have social media? Like, mind if I add you? And then they see me post homes all day. I'm like, oh. And then if I see them looking at my story, then I go in for a DM. Start with your sphere. We kind of brushed on that. I think one of the best things that you can do is putting everyone into a database, preferably Command. It's free. Our office provides it. Put in everything you know about that person. Where they live, their email, the last conversation you had. So when you go and have another conversation with them, you know what you talked about last and what you can bring up. Put in their Instagram link, their Facebook link. So before you have that conversation, you're checking their Instagram, their Facebook. Oh, I just saw you went to Egypt. How was it? What's super cool about Command is you can, if you know where they live, you can set them up for like a neighborhood search or neighborhood
Smart plan.
neighborhood nurture smart plan. So it sends them something every month about their neighborhood and the new properties that come up. I think that's super cool. I don't utilize that as much as I should. Any questions about database? What's cool is once you get everyone into Command, you can download it into a CSV file, and through that CSV file, you can add them to like a different format where you can send them like everyone a Christmas card or Valentine's card or New Year's card, and it makes it super easy because it already breaks down the different paths. Right? Any ahas or takeaways about everything we went over? You guys need a break? No. No? Keep pushing. 1:30. How has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new? Has anything changed for you guys? I hope so. I've been working hard up here.
I think the concept of cold calling has changed, because, a lot of people are doing it, and I just, tune in.
No. Is that something you want to pursue?
I do, I don't mind, I love open houses, I just love talking to strangers, which is fun, so I don't mind it. Or even my sphere, I want to catch up with people as well.
Yeah. Cold calling is tough, and you can make 1,000 calls and not get anyone who's interested, which is really tough. I think it's best to just remember that you're looking to help someone, and any call could be a huge difference. And you can also get super technical with it, like with me and who I'm sending letters to. Like, I should be cold calling them as well, because it's such a niche area of Mesa where it's only people who've owned their homes for at least 10 years and 70% equity, and they don't live in that home. It's like a second property or an investment home. So it's usually going to be the same conversation that I'm having with them, so I can kind of master that conversation. Whereas sometimes Peggy, she'll just call the whole neighborhood that she lives in. So you can kind of tweak it to whatever you feel most comfortable with. Any other mindsets? Thinking that has changed? No? Any ideas? Anyone have any?
It's a good idea to download the contacts from command and send the cards, clients.
Yep.
Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who do so much business, and all they do is have about 200 to 500 people, everyone that they really know really well, and send them like a catchy phrase like, "Oh, it's Valentine's Day. We would love to get a referral from you." Something a lot more clever.
Come on, yes, please. Let's work on that. We've got 2 weeks.
I don't do that. I wish I should, or I wish I would. But I know a lot of people who do a lot of business only from focusing on like the 300 people that they work on. Just by sending them like Valentine's, St. Patty's, the main holidays.
So, and you order through the KW, they have agents.
So I know with Command, I wish I could bring this up, but if you go into Command, there's a design portal, and you can go to like postcard or card, or I think the category is first print, and then you click print, and then you can make up whatever sort of design you want, and it's super similar to Canva. Or you can use Canva too, and I think you can put that CSV file of all your database into Canva and then have it directly sent to them.
It says create design. You can do an email, social media, print it, or a video, and you can focus that on like any of your websites or like email, Instagram, whatever.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot there, but that's huge. Yep. So one of the things I do when I sell a property, or I put a property into escrow, or have an open house, or it's coming, or I just listed it, I'll send out like 500 postcards to the surrounding neighborhood where the listing comes from. And you can go into there, create the design, and then it automatically sends to the 500 neighbors in the neighborhood. So imagine sending this postcard, coming soon listing, to those 500 people, and then you send another postcard to the same people just listed, and then you send them another one, open house, and then you say pending escrow, and then just closed. That's like 5 or 6 touches, and that neighborhood is becoming a farm. And then as you're sending them the postcards, you're calling each one and door knocking them. Like, you gotta find another deal in there. If not, we need to work on your conversations and conversion and your presentation. Does that make sense? Am I going on a rant? Did we run through this? How will your behaviors be different going forward? Anything you can implement today?
Be helpful with that mentality. You're here to help.
So, love that. Come from contribution. Yeah, always value. That's the number one thing that's, it's always tough because that value can be different for whatever prospect it is, right? You don't know what it is, so those open-ended questions can really help guide you. What actions will you take? Can anyone commit to anything this week that they're going to do?
Look for an open house. with Zillow and just kind of like, see if anybody has an open house and ask the agents if they want me to host them pretty much.
I love that. I see a lot of agents in our office posting on the Facebook like, does anyone have an open house? I'd love to host it. And I think you kind of got to be more aggressive. Like you have to find the listing agent who has a listing and like directly reach out to them.
You can even do this from connecting the list, right? What is it? Paragon system too.
Yeah, for sure. I know me, when I'm searching for open houses, when I don't have a listing, I like to focus on a neighborhood that I'm comfortable in, where I like the people, because if you're not necessarily comfortable in one of the neighborhoods you're hosting an open house, they might ask you a certain question about like the listing down the street or the neighborhood or the market across the way. You might not have anything else to say back. So just food for thought.
I used to go through the MLS and like the neighborhoods I wanted to, focus on, get buyers from or listings or whatever. And I would go through every listing in the MLS and just email every single agent. Just email them and tell them I'm available, what day, time. There's a lot of open houses that way.
Yeah.
Do you think email versus text? What do you suggest for both? You do both.
No, I don't text.
Oh, you don't text?
No, I do not.
You text, Peggy.
No, not these. I never text anybody. I
Oh,
always
for open
email.
houses?
I emailed them from the MLS email. That's it.
Oh, really? Is there a reason behind it? Or do you have a reason? Because a lot of people don't answer their texts, so those are my.
They're agents. Agents. They live on their email. Agents do. Yeah. Clients don't. They don't. They are the texting people. But agents, and live on my email. They always answer right away.
Really?
Yeah. And if they don't,
I had an agent email me this morning at like 5:30. It was, he was asking to show my property, but I mean,
yeah.
I appreciated the email because it was early and
Yeah,
some
and you don't
people.
know what time they're gonna
Yeah,
beat your phone. Yeah, always email. For agents.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would probably prefer an email as well versus text from agent.
Yeah.
So Sheldon, you're gonna commit to finding an open house this week. Are you gonna do anything to prepare for it, for your open house?
Well, if I manage to get one, I actually have to do shadowing first. I did one, so I'm gonna do like multiple, a couple more, so that should be a little bit easier to find, I feel like. But definitely that's what's gonna be done this week.
Do you have a license?
I do,
Why do you have to shadow?
because my coach told me we had to do 3.
Oh.
So that's, it's just kind of on protocol in that sense. But, once I feel comfortable with it, probably after the second one, just, hopefully I'll just jump in, see what happens. But yeah, my plan is also to go door knocking before, like the day before, if it's on Saturday, go on Friday, and just knock, be like, hey, you want to put a sign for you.
I think that's smart.
Just kind of interact with them like that.
That's what I was gonna suggest. I like to use open houses as an excuse to go talk to the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's better than just randomly knocking somebody's house and be like, sell. You just sell your house.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the ways I earn clients that are homeowners is I tell them that I don't sit there at the open house waiting for people to come sell it. I'm actively out there trying to find a buyer for their home rather than just sitting in the open house waiting. And that's just another way to come from contribution, show value. I know Peggy does. I'm going to be calling the neighborhood to market your listing. So just keep those in mind. We have probably 15 more slides. I have to go to the bathroom and take a break.
Go.
Thank
We'll
you.
be here.
Thank you. Let's do like 10-minute break. It's 1:31, 1:41. Stretch.
1:31.
It's 2:46.
2:45. It's 2:45.
Oh, 2:45. I have like 3 different times here. So yeah, 2:45, 2:55. Yeah.
What did you say?
How long will this one stand?
Probably like another 30 minutes. If you have things to go
What did
do.
you say you were looking for an open house?
Yes.
You were having trouble finding?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Oh, no. So I'm just gonna add some shadows. Okay, I need to do just one more shadow, and after that, I'm just gonna try to look for finding open houses.
No, yeah, that's fine.
So you're not ready to find it? I
Yeah,
have
for sure. I should have a partner.
Can I do shadow?
I'm gonna leave early too.
I just mean in the
No,
order.
I'm leaving myself.
Oh, got it, okay. For sure, yeah, but eventually, yeah.
Whatever you guys need.
But you have agents that
Reach out.
you shadow with?
I'm gonna
One, yeah, Carl.
Carl.
Shadow Carl, so I'm going to do one more at least, and then after that, just.
You should shadow with Matt or Matt.
Matt,
Oh, the guy in Matt Thornburg is, he's someone who really likes to do open houses. And he's a seasoned agent, so he would be a good one to ask if you could shadow.
You can ask me for Judy as well, Judy Stevens, I shadowed her last
Okay.
2 weeks ago. I got told she's the queen of open
Yeah, I'm
houses.
aware.
And the first Saturday I shadowed her, she got an offer her townhome. And also Sunday, she was basically doing an open house with another agent's listing. And there were like 8 or 9 walk-ins, and somebody else from Carlston was there too. I'm on Alicia's team. Is anyone from Alicia's team here? Anyone? No? Okay. So, yeah, I think there's so much interest in open houses.
no, for sure, yeah. And I've seen that,
You have like
I
a
plan on doing that this weekend.
or
yeah, people go there and they want to be contacted. So it's like, you know, it's like just random calling people, yeah.
It's Judy in the
must be
work. She is, yeah, she's a Williams agent. She's also in our coaching group in Alicia's, but she's been in it as long as, I don't know how many years you've been doing it, Vicky, but as far as I'm aware, she's been doing this for 18 years. And she's always looking for someone to help with shadowing. Put up signs, actually, sorry, I'm so sorry to actually, everybody else, like, the first time I was putting up the agent names and.
I sent you the, yes, I see it. Is that bad?
So it's
Like an hour or less.
we have a few office that I use Sandra. Oh, great.
Yeah, it's closer, but it's also like you gotta go.
Wait, so
Something you're gonna need to hire. This is what you said. They help out. Yeah, it's one of those things, the office kind of if we don't use them, we're open ourselves. It's gonna be like 5 minutes. There's a lot of room, but it's his birthday, I do business. Well, times, anytime. Anytime.
15 minutes.
Seriously, close it. Call me, text me, email me. I'm always working.
Yeah,
Always
see,
working.
that was, part of just for. I can't show you our work, so go ahead and sign it.
It's okay. No, that's good. I put all my clients
Oh,
out.
that would be very
All my favorite subjects. It's fun. And helping you helps me because it makes me learn about new things that my graduates get great together. Yes,
Chauncey. And he is now studying for. We did. And because he just started this Friday. He started scripts every morning with Stephen, with chairs.
He does that.
Actually, he's,
You do like most
It's, yeah, it's like 45, 50 minutes. It's not right.
just like
this one line.
Oh, yeah, he's all the way back. I'm 724. Drive so far.
Yes, yeah, definitely, because he was very timid, very timid when I was.
1 hour and 22 minutes. Yeah, to your house.
To this office, so we were doing so much work together,
So
we finally did it.
Get to my house?
And his business has like really
It's usually about 20 minutes. No, that's just 50 minutes to 11.
I said relative, yeah, and then just a year later, you were already just climbing. So that's
It's possible for all. Real estate, you can make it happen. Whatever you want to do.
There was a guy in the agent function last Friday, the top 15 agents in the housing team, and he started January 2022, like in 1 year. Ed, whatever his last name is. But yeah, in 1 year, it was already doing. Paul did some cases for he's Navy, just loves the Navy. Yeah.
That's our college, like, next month.
Because the Navy's
So you still get to go on this and that's what all of this?
Yeah, that's
It's
They're
the investing more that everyone wants it to. I like this.
I don't know what he likes to invest in, but he also wanted to say commercial, I said that's kind of maybe started, but it's
The first thing that comes to mind is probably like just running in a bank for like all the name, bringing in specializes. Yeah, specializes in the VA. So then there's times like things, live feeds, building all those things.
I did
No, I haven't. No worries. Thanks for coming in.
So much fun.
Yeah, you're great. Let me know if you guys need anything. I'm available. But thanks for letting me know.
Well, let me call you back.
Listen, you're on a chart. I've seen you. So, I'll say that I was just looking at the past, you know, grateful for your parents. You know, and I was so giving you like, what day is this? And he goes, yeah, you're gonna go find it. I just wanna make sure you know all the rules, you know, just so we all are. And, I mean, it was just that, this is yeah, he's in kindergarten, so, you know what I mean? It's just hard, he's not to feel like this, but I like him, I don't like he'll run to work, down there, he works at PL, he goes to Rochester, and I start this, the one out, like, here, she's okay, energy, so.
I went online and I just went full crazy. I'm like,
So that's pretty simple.
I did it off I was like, yeah,
That's how I was seeing.
I went off right now.
When I first explained it to you, you know, and I was like,
it was like $50 for a month.
Is that yours?
Yeah,
that's like saying,
and then I uploaded link. Like it's free. Yeah, so Linktree, you just basically somebody scans it. And then it'll link, so right, and if I added my Keller Williams, and then you should have this too. So I added that.
Simply explore for combos to set up appointments for a meeting.
And then schedule an appointment. Kind of created my
Yes,
what was
and
the world of drawing.
once you do, like you're gonna get, you're right on.
I love these magazines, shows.
Yeah, and it's free.
Beautiful homes, here in San Diego.
Yeah, with
San
the
Diego.
it's called Real. Yeah, so they give you everything. So just like this. Everything.
So this is do I just like go and Google and I did that?
Yeah, that's fine. My first yeah, I'm just gonna open it up. Pretty much, I got
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we're just doing, I didn't even need to say anything, because we're just. Where did you get that money?
She just gave it to me because I didn't get my orientation.
Who got it for you?
Yes, there's more that came from, was that, there's more where they came from?
Oh, yeah, yes, they always do.
There's such a good book. I read this, audiobook. I have to read the real books.
Everything's going good. I mean, this is literally like my third day, second day. I don't know.
It took me a while to find out how to job and setting up everything. I was like, it was insane. Yeah, it was a lot of work. It's a lot.
Yeah, I just started my courses. Probably sometime in March, I think, or April.
Very cool. Yeah, I think they said we want to go for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, how was the test? The state?
I was done for, but I studied it, I was done now.
Oh, wow.
I was.
So it's not hard. You just literally have to.
So, no, it is it's hard to find the it's not so I wanted to got this one very member and that would help. Because I could talk to the school quizzes over and over and over and over, and so I got like 40% of the that was great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I just need to get there. Because I guess you have to have a space between exams or courses.
It's not space and more just 5 things from the course.
It's like mandatory,
Joanna,
right? Yeah.
you remember me telling me that somebody
So
that
March is like
well,
the
she
last.
was with me, her name is Karen. She's like identical to you, but she has red hair. So I told her, and she's like, "Does she have red hair too?" And I'm like, "Oh, she's sorry." I'm like,
No worries.
"Thank you for listening."
Yeah, of course. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah, so I heard I was like, dude.
Did you say you're working full time?
Yeah. There's 4 children in one big building, and they're like,
I'm flying back and forth right now, just doing
yeah.
You know, like,
most like right now,
You, if you
a
want
couple clients right now, the same fire,
Nice. What town is it?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs.
Oh no, I didn't work there, but like I was repeating. I was born and raised there, so which
Yeah, for sure.
and I'm still actually working here, so.
Oh yeah. I have a listing lead for you then. I'll give them a call. I met her at an open house here. Her daughter lives here, but she's been thinking about selling. There.
I'm quite often this weekend actually, so if she's around. Do you know what part of town, like south?
I have no idea. I think I might have it saved in their contacts. I'll double check.
It's like negative 1 degrees right there, it's right now, so like, that'll probably
Went to college in South Dakota. It was so
that's even
cool.
worse, right? Yeah, that sounds like torture.
Definitely eye-opening experience.
To the cold or just
Yeah, to the cold and nothing to do
in
with
the
town.
culture? Yeah, it's much
There you go. I got like 5 books now.
Okay, guys, I wanted to bring this up real quick. If you're cold calling anyone, you have to like scrub the list to make sure they're not on the do not call list. Keller Williams has a bunch of lawsuits out right now for agents calling people who are on the do not call list. So it's something to be aware of if you're cold calling. Wherever you're getting your numbers from, most of the time they're scrubbing it to pull those lists out. Like the dialer Peggy uses, Mojo, if you put those lists into the dialer, it scrubs out the do not call list. And 9 times out of 10, if you just say, sorry, I didn't know you're on the list, or I'll never call again, it won't be anything unless you're told it to. Just make note of that.
There's nothing around that door knocking, right?
I don't think so.
Like, even if it's a society, you're not
No
supposed to see.
soliciting, don't knock.
Okay, got it. I've seen that before, and I was just like, oh, I wonder if that, counts.
I've had a lot of realtors be like, you can still knock on those do not solicit because you're not selling anything. That's like what I
Do
do.
what you want,
I
don't knock,
yeah.
that's all I say.
Yeah, don't do it. But like,
Just
you might
leave.
hear advice that like you
There's a
can,
lot of
it's
houses
totally
that-
fine, but
If it takes the time to put something up like that, it's like,
that's a sure way to miss somebody.
bye,
That's true.
not interested.
I think if you're always coming from contribution and just like having good intentions, like the worst thing they're gonna say is like, get the fuck off my property.
If you have an event going on, like if you have an open house or something, you wanna tell the neighbors and it says no soliciting, I would still knock and just say, I just wanna let you know I'm having this open house, or, something like that, but not knocking on doors saying, do you wanna sell your house?
For sure,
That's a different conversation.
Right now.
Exactly.
So, I'm not going to make you guys role play. I asked you guys earlier if you wanted to. The staff is probably going to get really upset with me over this because I didn't do it. But other teachers probably will make you.
Why are you not making us do it?
Because I asked everyone earlier, no one wanted to except one person.
They actually do, only they are acting so shy.
Oh, I'm sure. This is something you need to master. This is something you need to do. The best agents who sell a bunch of properties still role play. And if you're not willing to do this,
Would you want to do it?
I will play a lot with my wife.
Would you?
I'm also, that's funny.
We're getting my mom.
That's role play with people I know. Like very intimate because they know like how you need to respond and like how to throw you off. I agree.
whatever floats your boat, just know that other presenters will probably make you do it, and it's something that I know you don't want to do, and you need to be uncomfortable, because if you're practicing on your clients, it's just not going to be the best you. So just know that moving forward. Prepare your conversation list. This is always best. So when you come to the next class, you have a list of people that you can call. The people you know you didn't want to call over and over, like you go down your contact list and like, oh, I don't want to call that person. Like, I'll call them next time. Just put it down, write it on your list, and make sure to call them. So it's always nice to have the contact list ready to call, so you're not like making the list when you should be calling, if that makes sense. Just to save time. This time was slotted so that you can call people right now during class. I don't know if Sarah told you guys that. She should have. So usually we have 45 minutes to call people, so that's why we make that contact list. So next class, make sure you get with your title rep, you make your own list of people in your sphere that you need to talk to, so when this comes up, you have a dedicated list to make conversations, make calls for 45 minutes. I am probably one of the nicer presenters in our office, so they'll like really get down your neck. So just be aware of that. Follow up.
Wow.
The money's made in the follow up. 30 minutes. So who you were supposed to be calling today, you were supposed to be following up at your next class. I can't tell you, I probably followed up with prospects like over a dozen times, then no response, and then finally out of the blue they're like, oh, come list my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
I followed up for 10 years and I got a listing.
10 years.
What?
And
It's
we're
insane.
going on the market next week.
That's insane.
People, we're getting photos tomorrow.
The money is in the follow-up. Just make it a habit.
Oh wait, that's just 2 in 1 month I got after 10 years of follow-up.
Like Joel was saying with the command and the task, like just set a reminder when to follow up. Right when it happens. Oh, you're getting off the phone. Okay, well, when should I follow up with you? If they say in 6 months, follow up in 3 months.
Create a task for 6 months.
Good. Me and Peggy, we take this class called Bold that they do at Keller Williams, and I think they always say if it's 6 months or a year, cut it in half, and then that's when you should follow up. Right?
They won't remember anyway.
Yeah, that's what happened today is his friend said, yeah, I'm thinking of buying in 6 months. I said, yeah, we're going to be talking to you pretty soon.
Cool.
Already getting in.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, just send them a property and say, hey, what do you think of this one? Money in the follow. The way I do my follow-up is I tell them, am I following up with you too much? If I am, just tell me to fuck off. Like, I want to be annoying. Like, I want to follow up them so much that they have to tell me to stop.
Okay, I think I'm confused right now, not about this, but like, okay, with you two, how did you guys end up as a team? Because
Yeah, I would love
if I had somebody like you that knew the game and I had like that kind of like comfort level, it would be a lot easier to get rolling.
Yeah,
My person who's my mentor is very busy in her own business, so it's really difficult to tie her down and like get information from her, so it's really frustrating for me. And I just am really interested in this connection, you know what I'm saying?
We've
Me too.
just been friends for a while, and
I'm not trying to like put you on the spot, I'm actually
no,
kind
we've
of
been
like
friends for a while, and
envious.
he said he was thinking of doing real estate, and I said, really?
Mm-hmm.
And we just started talking about it, and it's like, let's go.
Cool, I love that.
I mean, everything I said, he was like, that's fun. Then we ran into Steven. Steven was all about it, and it was like just one thing after another. He's just ready.
Right.
Actually
I
started.
just feel like I'm flying blind. Like it's really, really difficult, you know, to not have somebody that I can, well, I thought I had somebody that I could call and be like, hey.
Who's your coach?
Kareen.
Okay.
Well, Kareen, she was like my initial contact or whatever, but Deb Brown is my coach.
Okay.
And Deb is amazing, Kareen's amazing also, but she's just busy, so
They're
I
busy.
feel
They have
like
their-
I'm falling through the cracks.
Yeah, they have their own businesses. It's tough, and
So I don't know
I'm sorry you're feeling that way.
what to do.
One of the things that I've kind of learned that I haven't even mentioned is like you become who you're surrounding yourself with,
Right.
and you need to find those mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways I found Peggy was going to like an Ignite, which is called Bold. And I think just kind of putting yourself out there to like as many networking events, as many like gatherings here at the office or happy hours our office is having, kind of go out and see who's like living the life you want to live, and just, you know, buy them a coffee or get cocktails, or like I can be a resource for you too. Bug me, call me, text me, and then you know.
Because like Joseph wasn't doing that much, you know, and then I just said, I want to do calls, and he's like, I want to do calls, and so I said, come to my office, and so he came, and we were just doing calls, and it's like, it's just a matter of who's willing at the moment.
Right.
It's just a matter of willingness at the moment.
So basically, me focusing on two specific people, that was basically in essence setting myself up for failure as far as like, you know what I'm saying? Is that what
Are you
you
talking
mean?
about people that did not move with you, that you didn't move with?
Well,
There was
no,
flow?
I mean, I kind of like, upon coming in, I was able to like, you know, choose who I was to be speaking with, you know, and I met Kareen through somebody else, so naturally I gravitated towards her because she was the first person that I knew here, and I love her, don't get me wrong, she's amazing, but she's super busy. So to get together with her, to like be able to catch her for an hour or a happy hour or a coffee or whatever, to pick her brain is very difficult. And so I don't know, I guess I've just become kind of frustrated.
Can I ask, do you guys can you get to her on the phone frequently or not as much?
We've talked on the phone a few times.
We just need like a refresher and coaches. Like I'll say Carl, like we can call him anytime. He's there for us.
And I'm more of like face to face. Like I want to look at you and like, you know what I'm like, look into your eyes and see what you mean by what you're saying. Like phone can be like text as far as I'm concerned, because you can take things out of context. And I don't like that. You know, I'm a straight shooter and I want to know, okay, wait, is this what you mean? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like get to the nitty gritty of the situation or the conversation.
I think if you keep keep coming to these Ignites. Like, you're gonna learn a lot, and you're gonna be exposed to a lot of the agents who are doing a lot of business in our office. And obviously who the staff has like credibility in. So really like reach out to them and embrace them, what they have to share, because everyone a part of the ALC, like the Leadership Council, we prioritize being an open book and a resource for our agents, because what you just expressed, how you're feeling, we don't want that for anyone. So get my contact info.
I feel bad. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus by any means.
No, I know.
I just am like ready to get rolling, and I don't know where to begin.
You know, like Joseph and I was 13 years in the business, but it was kind of like that I wasn't, you know, and it's like he was kind of a couple years, but it's like he wasn't, both of us were kind of flailing around. And you know, you might get with somebody who's kind of like that too. Maybe not a mentor, but somebody like, we were equals, you know, we met up, we were doing the same thing and excited about it. He'd be on his, what was that called, the line or something, that one of the scooters. We were doing like Bold 100, we were just like walking around University Avenue and 30th, and he'd be on the scooter, I'd be walking, and we would be asking every single person, hey, do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell property? Hey, you know anyone who wants to buy or sell property? Like, that's what we did for like 100 people, and he would do it on a scooter. And it's like, we just did shit like that.
Yeah, so one of the Keller Williams programs, Bold, has you do a task of a Bold 100, where you have 100 conversations in a day, asking people for real estate business or what their needs are. And that's what we used to do, because her office used to be in University out of North Park. And I just cruise around on them.
And then Jampai and I, we would meet here, and then once every Thursday, once a week, we would go down to 5th and Market, stand on the corner, and ask every single person who walked by, hey, do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell property? Oh, okay, bye.
And you guys closed the deal from that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Which I would be really amazing at, because I talk to everybody anyway.
We did it with 100 people every Thursday.
Okay.
That was our jam.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna need your information and your information.
Yeah. And
because like I'm feeling the vibe, you know what I'm saying? Sorry guys that I threw this whole class off of the subject, but what's that?
Now you got yourself a team.
If I wasn't so short and chubby, I would do a high kick right now, okay?
what's nice is when you start spending more time here and getting to know people, especially like the presenters, you'll be able to like figure out what like question you have, and like, oh, I know this person will know this question.
Right.
And then if not, like, you'll be able to go down a list of like 12 people and just like see who has their opinion on this and the answer for this. Because I know when I have questions about like contracts or how to respond to certain things, like I can call Alicia, who's a coach, or Peggy, who's a coach, or Peggy, who's been in the business for a long time. Because, I mean, questions come up all the time. Every transaction or scenario is totally different from the next one. So it's really just plugging into the office and trying to meet as many people.
Well, that was another thing. Not knowing if I could get a hold of my 2 contacts. If they're not going to be there, I'm not comfortable coming in, hey, I'm Jules, I don't know anything about anything. Is it cool if I hang with you? Like, that's
tough.
You know, I'm not going to do that. Maybe now, because I feel just having this conversation with the 2 of you and everybody else in here, I feel more confident already in the fact of like, okay, this is like a safe space or whatever.
Yep.
Being able to come in and, you know, find somebody if I have a question. But yeah, like that was definitely difficult. You know, I was invited to the Christmas party. I signed on 2 days ago, or 2 days previous to that. It was like, I'm not going to the Christmas party.
Yeah.
Like, and you know.
And you have to put yourself out there. It's really tough for me to do that too, because I'm pretty high introvert and don't really like talking to people. So I feel like it was really tough for me. It's tough for me to still do that. I rarely come into the office just to pick up a check. yeah, add me on social media, take my number down. I'm here for you.
Awesome, thank you.
So yeah, that's all of it. 62, celebrate successes. Does anyone have any successes they want to celebrate?
I have my first appointment tonight.
You do?
Yay!
That's awesome. Congrats.
Yes, I've done a bunch of open houses. Open house every weekend for like 3 months. I have lots of contacts, so it works. It's hard to get them, but it's possible. Like, now I will email. I used to just text and email as well. But I have serious buyer actually.
Nice.
So, I'm proud for the conversation.
Like
Yeah,
that.
that's great.
That reminds me, so like, everyone kind of knows these agents who do like so much business and they never host any of their own open houses. So like one of the names that comes up to mind is Melissa Tucci. She's the official San Diego Padres realtor. She probably has like 10 listings active all the time. So like if you reach out to her, she'll connect you with her assistant and you can do one of her open houses. When I first got started, I would host her open houses like 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, like 10 to 4. It didn't matter because I just needed business. And one of my clients I landed from midweek was one of my best clients ever. We closed like 7 transactions within the whole family, and they're good friends and family now. So it's if you can, if you're free, do open houses as much as possible.
And I got trained to do open houses by doing them during the week. And during the week is the best time to do open houses, because nobody else is. And you have a sign out there, and especially on your A-frames, always have a time. Most agents don't do that, and it's like crazy. Why would you not put the time that you're gonna have your open house on every single one of your A-frames? Spread them all around. So when people drive by, and put it out at 6 a.m. Because when people are driving by, they know they can come back at that time. They know that you're gonna be there. You want people to come to your open house. Why make it so difficult for them to understand what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, or even like type out the address, type out the sign, print it, and like tape it to your sign
I have the whiteboard.
is a huge help. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't have a whiteboard. I have some whiteboard, but I have 12 that are already printed. Open today, 10 to 2. Open today, 1 to 4. Open today, 4 to 6. I have those already, 12 each of those, and I just put them on my A-frames.
That's a veteran tip.
So what time during the week is a good time to host them?
Yeah, any. Anytime.
That's the best for me anyway.
So next session, connect with your market. I don't know who's teaching that one, but I'm sure it's someone great. Ahas from the session today? Anyone? I know we've been going through them. No?
A lot of them.
Me too.
Good. Good, I'm glad.
Really good.
We still have time if you guys have any questions on nothing but random stuff, investors, scripts, anything. I'll write my number up here so you guys have it.
Do you guys have scripts on the system site somewhere? Do you guys have scripts, Keller Williams scripts, where we can access them?
I have a bunch saved that I could probably send you. If you want to shoot me a text. I know. I don't know.
Well, you want to write mine in the box up there?
I don't know if you can even read it. Jesus.
I know, right? You want to write mine up?
No. You can do it. But yeah, any questions? Any random thoughts?
I'm trying to find that time frame, to put on top of my egg frame, that 2 to 4.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Personally, myself, before I became agent, I was heavily reliant on science, heavily. Because I didn't care about address. I'm like, oh, if you leave me to your place, I'll know to go. So I really like that idea from like 1, 2, 3 to whatever we have.
It's huge.
Yeah, and even address, like we have all this fancy signs, but they're kind of useless.
Yep.
They're not gonna help you get there, just like that.
So true.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I see a lot of them sometimes and they're like facing the wrong way.
Yeah, but if you like get like a real simple one, open house, and you just write in the address.
Of course.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great.
Great to meet you.
That was good as well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Just
it.
introduce
Of course.
myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
619
Okay.
866 9104.
Yeah, I like your vibe. You're smart and to the point. I love it.
Both high B's. High B's.
Yes.
Very often.
I just like to be, they're having meetings or anything like that.
Yeah, me too.
I worked in a night, so I remember we worked in Miguel, so it was like.
Joe, did you want me to?
Yes, I do. Please.
619
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
9104. Meg Rose.
Thank you, Rose.
My first name is.
They're my very first Zoom call, like I noticed you right away. You got like unicorns in the background or something? No, she's standing there like, ah.
Bye, y'all. Have a good day.
Bye, Thursday.
Bye.
Thank you.
She's over here like dancing too, making like little.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
We'll stay in contact.
Sounds good.
And it's like a roller coaster, but it's exciting. It's a lot of it.
Perfect.
Like for real.
Perfect. I'll get back to
I mean, trying to balance things. I keep telling my wife, like, maybe I should quit my other job in the next 3 months if I sell 3 houses. And
Keep going.
yeah, it's,
It'll decide for you.
Yeah.
You have to really decide for you.
it'll, yeah, but that's what my wife
Brandon's a real
said. For you, if you can substitute your income within 1 to 2 months, over it. Oh, wow. It's just very wrecking. But I'll probably be here a lot.
Good. I was talking about men today. See you later. Yeah. So, we got a lot. All right, have a wonderful day.
License first.
We got this.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm just ready.
I think I was over prepared, so.
You can never be over prepared.
Honestly, I'll see you around.
Thursday?
Yes, I'm gonna be here Thursday too.
Yeah.
That's good. You'd rather be over than
I
under.
don't want to again. I just want to take again. One of them.
Yeah.
And there are some agents that did it again more than once, so.
They didn't put the time in.
No, it's just that one is magic.
This book right here?
No, the
Oh, the
website.
website.
Right there. It's magic, it's really cool. Yeah, try that one, for sure.
Appreciate it.
Brandon, we'll see you Thursday.
Great. Have a good one.
You too.